Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio dial in Mississippi or to one of our online affiliates around the world. We're glad to have all of you with us as well. Benno Rosenwald is making his first appearance on our program today to talk to us not only about his love of producing content, but also what it's been like for him to see the projects he's worked on come to life and the way he's been able to see the way the audiences have responded to it. We'll talk to Benno also about what it's been like for him to do work that he loves, what is it that keeps him moving forward, as well as how he's able to overcome challenges that I think all of us face in the creative community. If you're just not hearing about the work that Benno is doing, we'll tell you at the end of our segment how you can stay connected with him. But Benno, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Hey, the pleasure is definitely all mine. You know, when I was prepping for your segment, I noticed that one of the things that it seems like that you're really passionate about is being able to share the stories that you want to be able to see told. And I think that's one of the reasons why the people have gravitated toward your work. So, Benno, what has that been like for you to not only be able to have an idea for something, but to be able to see it being brought to life?
I mean, that's probably one of the largest challenges of being a content creator, is going from an idea that you have to actually finding a way to make it. I'm very lucky to have found a group of people that support me and that believe in what I do and have been able to fund my projects. And it's been absolutely incredible. It's so inspirational to one day have this idea and then follow the process from development, writing, casting, and putting it all together, watching it be produced, and then watching post-production, and then having us go into festivals and have the world get to receive it. It's been absolutely one of the most difficult and rewarding things I've ever gotten to do in my life.
Yeah. And I think, too, you know, as the work that you've been able to do, and you know, for those who are just hearing about you, of course, and you've been able to work on projects, of course, you know, that have been recognized, not only, of course, because of the variety of what they're able to show, but also, of course, being able to open up opportunities, as I said earlier. In 2015, that's when you started Mookie Entertainment. You know, did you know from the beginning that in order to be able to see certain stories being brought to life, you know, that you had to be the one actually in charge of doing that?
I knew that if I wanted to see the stories that I wanted told, if I wanted to tell the stories that I most believe in, that I would have to take charge. Because that's what it is. A lot of people have great ideas and are able to come up with something fun. But the thing about the entertainment industry is that no one is knocking on your door to listen to your idea. You have to take your idea and take it to them. And you have to take charge. So that's how I knew I needed to take charge of my own destiny to see what I wanted to see in this industry. And that's why I founded Mookie. And yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to ask you, I mean, how scary was that, though? I mean, to be able to do that? Because I think a lot of people realize that, you know, the only way certain things are going to happen is if they do it. But how scary was the doing it?
It's very difficult. It was very, very scary. It's really just sort of what I like to say, and what I say almost every day of my life is throwing myself off a cliff and really hoping that there's something down there to catch me. And it's exhilarating, but it's also just like, I really hope this works out. Luckily, a lot of the things that I have done are working out, and it's really wonderful. But I mean, the thing is, you don't just stop doing what makes you money. I have been working the entire time for other people in the industry and helping them create their visions while I created my own. Yeah.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because it goes to what I was alluding to earlier, Benno, with you, is that you've been able to build these alliances, these partnerships, and being able to have these connections that have really served you well, especially when it comes to creating content in the world that we're living in today, where, you know, if you're really, really passionate about something and have the dedication and put in the time, you can definitely see something great come out of it. How has social media helped you in that regard? I mean, we live in a world now where all of us are using it, and, you know, in some form or fashion. How has that been able to help you into being able to rally the troops around these projects?
I mean, one of my projects that we're just finishing post-production on right now, which is called Femme, it's a story about a young gay man and exploration of femininity and masculinity and what that means, that was almost solely driven by social media. It is a message of self-acceptance and self-love that we put out there into the world, and my partners and I put out into the world, and was so well received by a large community, and it was driven and funded by Kickstarter, and that was solely done through social media. And in today's era, social media is so important in getting the awareness of what you're doing. You can use it as a tool to build your projects. You can build a project solely from social media.
Right. You know, I'm glad that you mentioned film, because one of the things that I had, and because I wasn't sure exactly how much you wanted to talk about it, but, I mean, you all had set a goal. I mean, let's just take that as an example, because I noticed this again in my prep. You guys had set a goal for $10,000 for this project. You guys went, you know, over twice as much of that is what you guys were able to get. I mean, over $25,000 came in. I mean, when did you stop pinching yourself of, oh, wow, this is really not only going to happen as a project, but people are really wanting to see this project being made?
Well, so $10,000 is only going to be a third of the budget of FEM. And none of us had ever used Kickstarter before. We were just sort of like figuring it out, being like, maybe this will work. Maybe we can do this. And that first day came and it went live, and I was like, we're going to struggle. So we put that goal, and we said we were going to give ourselves 3 weeks to raise $10,000, and then the first day came, and we raised the $10,000 in less than 24 hours. It was one of the most surreal experiences of my life. I never realized that this project was going to speak to as many people as it did, and it got featured in Out Magazine. It's been featured on Huffington Post Queer Voices. It's been featured on podcasts like Grizzly Kiki and a bunch of other places, and it blew my mind where it went, and it proved to me that social media and this sort of crowd funding and crowd speak is definitely something that works and is a way of creating content. Right.
If you don't mind, Benno, I want to stay with this for a moment, because I think something else can be said about this. One of the reasons why, you know, people rallied around this, because I think it's like a project inside a project in a way, in that when I watched the video that was featured there on the Kickstarter, it seemed like one of the messages of this is that it's wrong to shame anybody. You know, and I think that's kind of a universal thing these days, especially in the world that we live in, that people feel as though it's okay to, you know, to label individuals, to try to talk down, make other groups feel less than. Do you think that is part of what people were contributing toward as well?
Absolutely. I think it's what spoke to people was the social message of the film. The film teaches its social message through comedy, which I think is one of the best ways of teaching, because it doesn't feel like you're browbeating somebody. But I think people really responded to this idea of just because you say something is a preference, it's not actually a preference. You're putting people into boxes, and you're not even getting to know them. It's like, what I like to think of is today's online dating system, and the way in which we date online is sort of like a menu, and you're like saying what you want specifically, and you're trying to like build your perfect man, but you're not actually getting to know anybody. And that's sort of something that I think people are really responding to, because I feel like everyone, no matter what you look like, no matter who you are, has that experience online of being rejected because your teeth are too yellow, your eyebrows look weird, you are too fat, you're too short, like all of these you're too sort of statements. And what FEM is about is you're not too anything, you're just yourself. Own who you are, love who you are, and for the people that don't love you for that, they're not worth your time.
Right. I want to talk more about that for yourself personally and what it's been like for you to believe in your own gift. Benno, I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Benno Rosenwald to our program today. Benno is talking to us not only about his work as a producer, but what it's been like for him, not just through Mookie Entertainment, but also what it's been like for him in his life work in creating content, to be able to do something that he loves, and then, of course, to be able to surround himself with people who are of the same mindset, that are all about trying to bring stories stories to life. We were just talking about one of the projects. Film will tell you a little bit later how you can stay connected with that project. So, for yourself, what is it that keeps you encouraged? Is the responses to projects like Film one of the things that kind of keeps you moving forward, or what is it, in spite of the challenges, Benno, that kind of keep you wanting to say, this is still something I want to do?
Well, the encouragement from all these sort of reactions to projects is always wonderful and lovely, but that really is the rarity. Let's be honest, that doesn't happen very often. It's sort of a one project in a lot, and you don't get that type of response. Sometimes you just don't get anything, or you get middling, or you get rejected. So what really keeps me going is my belief and my journey of telling stories about self-love and self-acceptance and trying to put something positive out there into the world. Because what I see in a lot of media right now, it seems very dark. We're in a very dark sort of period. You're watching things like Handmaid's Tale, which is amazing and lovely, but the tone has turned to a very sort of bleak place, and things that I think were important to tell are these stories of finding yourself and loving yourself for who you are. Because I know that is something that I struggle with in my life, is loving yourself no matter what. And I think it's a thing that's something that all of us feel, is that you have to find that place where you love yourself. And I think it's a lifelong journey. And that's why I do what I do, is because I want to encourage others to follow that journey and to hopefully one day reach that place where no matter what happens, you are there and you love yourself and you can laugh at yourself and see all these ridiculous things that you've done, but ultimately you are who you are and you love it.
Yeah, I think that is it for sure. So, we mentioned earlier about social media, Benno, and how that is one of the ways that we are able to stay connected and be able to help spread the word, like what you all were able to do with Film. Do you also find yourself, when you hear the comments, and, I think you bring up a really good point that everything is not going to be praised the same way, but when you do hear the comments from individuals about how much they appreciate what you're doing, how does that make you feel about the work that you have devoted so much of yourself to?
It's the best feeling in the world when you get someone telling you, I am so glad you're telling this story because this is what I deal with, or this is what I struggle with, and I'm glad that you are bringing it to the forefront. There's nothing that can compare to that. There's nothing that can make you happier than when someone connects with what you're doing, because as an artist, all you're hoping to do is make something that people connect with and that speaks to them. And that just gives you that extra boost of, yes, I'm on the right path, I'm doing this correctly, and all you can really hope is that they stay with you on that path through it.
Right.
But as I said, that doesn't happen very often. So take those, live in those moments, but what you really need to do is be okay if those moments don't happen. Believe in yourself and believe that what you're doing matters. And that's something that for the project that I'm going out with right now called Undergrads, which is premiering at the Downtown Los Angeles Film Festival this Sunday, I finished that project in 2016, and it hasn't been seen yet. This is its premiere, and it's gotten a lot of rejection. It was turned down by a lot of different people, but I believed in it, and I love it and think it's amazing. And this year, it's struck. It's premiering in the Downtown Los Angeles Film Festival. It's a finalist in several other film festivals, and it just won the Best Shorts Competition, television pilot program, comedy series, Best Leading Actress, Best Supporting Actress. So it's just amazing to get that feedback, and you just need to believe in yourself.
Yeah, and that's something that is not easy. And I think, I'm so glad you shared that because, like you said, not everything is going to be received well, and you have to be willing to do it outside of that. Has your idea, this is something we've been talking about a lot on this program, especially this year, Benno, and that is the idea of what success is. I know for myself, the idea of success and what that means, what it looks like, has definitely changed. How has your idea of what being successful in this business, how has it evolved?
Success is a very difficult thing to measure. Like you say, knowing when you're successful or accepting when you're successful is difficult. I personally try not to think about what is success. I try to think about what I want to achieve this year. And I guess that's a version of success. I set myself goals, but always newer goals, always bigger things, so that I never be like, if I win this, then I'm successful. If I do this, then I'm successful, because I think that's a big trap that some people can get caught in this industry, is like, right, if I get nominated for an Oscar or if I win an Oscar, then I'm successful. But then after that, where are you going to go? Like, what's next?
Right.
For me, I always try to keep setting goals. When I first started, I was like, my first goal is get a job in the industry. Then my next goal was to create my own company and do my first project. Then it was to build a slate that you can do throughout the year. And slowly but surely, you're building those. You're feeling good, but what keeps me going is keeping myself busy. Keeping myself busy and not trying to think about success, because that can bring you to a whole spiral of just worrying about how other people see you. And I do that enough in my life, and that I just try to be like, okay, I'm achieving my goal.
Right. Right. You know, you said something that kind of, I think, is a great segue as we wrap up here, and that is about what's next. I think that is the biggest thing for us creatives. We try to be in the present. We try to enjoy the moment, but the thinking of what's next, I think, is one of the things that drives us. Do you find yourself already, even though you're, celebrating the project that's premiering, this weekend, as you're getting ready, of course, for the updates with film, do you find yourself still kind of driven by the what's next?
Always. I mean, what are we if we're not working on the next project? Because when you go out with one project, the inevitable question that you get is, and what else are you working on? You're like, but I just finished this, but this is like, can't we just talk about this? But that's never the case. You always have to have something in your back pocket. But so, yeah, I have a lot of stuff that is coming up down the line. Femme, of course, is the next thing to come down the line, which is extremely exciting. But I've also had a short film called Ecstasy and Agony that's coming down, that's being finished right now. And then I have a full-length feature that I'm in development with an amazing writer named Monica Trausch out of New York City, who's an incredibly talented playwright. And we produced the play. It's called The ABCs, and we produced it here in L.A., at the Fringe Festival, and it had an amazing run, sold out, and then had a run in New York as well, and now we're transitioning that play into a feature film. It's sort of like a Heathers meets Mean Girls / Bling Ring, young women, and how Instagram affects self-esteem and self-love. And it's a lot of fun. We're working with these two amazing producers who I also worked with on Femme, named Johan and Linnea from Changing Film, and they're amazing, and we're going to be putting that into production hopefully at the beginning of 2019, but development is working right now. So, yeah, you always are looking at the next thing. You're like, what are my next projects? What's the next thing to do? Because this one's done, and we're just having fun and going to parties, but what's next in the work field?
Right. Well, you guys have a reason to celebrate. Again, everyone, we've been speaking with Benno Rosenwald today, not only about his own journey as a producer, but what it's like for him to do work that he loves and that you all have now been able to enjoy and participate in as well. So, Benno, let our audience know how they can stay connected with you and kind of keep up with what's coming up next for Mookie Entertainment.
Absolutely. So Mookie Entertainment just launched its Instagram today and Facebook, which is facebook.com/Mookie Entertainment. But you can always find me at JBR4 on Instagram, and there will be a link to Mookie Entertainment there. And you can find us at MookieEntertainment.com, which is MOOKI entertainment.com. And you can follow all our projects. If you want to learn more about Femme specifically, you can look up FemmeTheFilm.com, or find us on Instagram and Facebook. And then for undergrads, which is the project that's coming out this Sunday, again at the Downtown Los Angeles Film Festival, you can find it on YouTube, youtube.com/undergrads, and then you'll be able to see the first 3 mini episodes of that series. So those are some ways to keep in touch with us. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Well, look, the pleasure's definitely all mine. Congratulations to you on all the great work, and looking forward to our next conversation together, Benno.
Thank you. Absolutely. Would love to come back.
All right, we'll definitely make it happen. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. If you all came in late, you missed part of the conversation with Benno, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media site. So head over to facebook.com/CyrusWebb or go over to twitter.com/CyrusWebb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share it with your friends from there too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take time for some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.